Hello, I'm James Wilson.
And I'm Matthew Rowney.
And on Saturday night, I'm trying to contain my excitement still. Oh, I just can't do it! On Saturday night, the most amazing thing happened. We thought that Series 4 would be the first and last time in Modern Who that we would see Davros, creator of Daleks. But, no. On Saturday night, this pruny old bugger came back!
Yes.
Yes,
Doctor Who is back.
Doctor Who!
Series 9 is underway. And we are going to begin right now by reviewing The Magicians Apprentice.
Ooh,
Let's do it.
enjoy! So then guys, a new series of 12 reviews coming up, and it begins right now. My god, I can't believe how long it's been since our Deep Breath review. It really doesn't feel that long ago.
Oh, I know, but we're underway once again, and this year we are doing reviews differently.
Yes.
Because we are keeping our notes completely separate. We have no idea what each other thinks, so therefore, with our unaltered opinions, we might clash a bit.
Yes.
And we might disagree. We have no idea what each other thinks.
So this may be quite an interesting way for us to make the video,
Yes.
but also hopefully an interesting way for you guys to watch the video.
May
as well.
result in a fist fight too.
Yes, that may happen.
So, Magician's Apprentice. Now, I must
Yes.
just stress, before people comment saying, it was rubbish, we didn't find out how Davros survived, we didn't find out this, that, it's a two-parter.
Yes.
And we've only ever reviewed one recent brand new two-parter, which was the Series 8 finale.
Yeah.
And you've got to judge a two-parter on how it builds up. So there's still a lot of questions that we can kind of accept still can be answered. But where do you want to start? I think we can start with, well, the intro.
With the pre-title sequence, oh my goodness. Well, the pre-title sequence, it began fading into a battlefield, on a muddy, foggy battlefield, which we believe, their names aren't even mentioned once, but we suspect that it is that war that we have heard so much about between the Khaleds and the Thals, the race that Davros comes from, the Khaleds, and it's no surprise that that is Dalek backwards, how original, and so they are against the Thals in a war, and so like in the Day of the Doctor, this one little scene doesn't exactly probably show the great magnitude of a huge war. But still at the same time, it shows us all we need to know about a war like this between the Khaleds and the Thals. And I thought it was really beautifully shot as well, and it was a great location. I really loved that bit.
A few people have been moaning that we didn't get to see enough of the war, but that's not what the episode was about.
No.
And that's the point, like you said, with the Day of the Doctor, we didn't have to see all the time while we saw the important parts that were required for the plot.
Yeah.
And it was the same here in just the pre-title sequence. We seen a young boy stuck in some hand mines.
Yes.
Not hand eyes.
Hand mines.
Of course. You were close, yeah.
Yes.
And of course, the Doctor just thinks it's an innocent child.
Yes.
And the build-up to when he says, "My name's Davros," and the Doctor's face and the music.
The slow close-up shot of the Doctor is just absolutely amazing. The setting, the location, it makes that moment. Just everything is perfect within that moment. The direction, the slow close-up shot, the music, everything is just so brilliant. And the fact that the Doctor just has pretty much changed Davros's timeline, maybe a little bit. You know, the fact that Davros possessed the Doctor's sonic screwdriver, what do you think that might have changed? Sort of thing.
I don't know. I mean, Davros with sonic technology from his childhood. That could be the reason to why he's got a new fleet of Daleks. Honestly, it's like Stand on a Butterfly changes everything. That sonic device in the hands of the Daleks.
Yeah.
They could enhance it. They could use it to make sonic devices of their own.
I know we're
They could do anything.
overdoing the sonic screwdriver a little bit because it is only a sonic screwdriver. But what I must say is that in that battlefield they were using aeroplanes and wooden bow and arrows. So obviously they were quite a primitive back in that Khaled war. So I think that finding a sonic screwdriver would be like finding an iPhone in the 1700s, that type of thing, you know. So I think that it would be like that, you know. So I think it may have changed quite a bit.
Great opening, and it was good to see them throw us straight into an episode. No slow build up. And then we got to see a lot after the titles, which were a little bit different.
Yes. Still out of sync.
Still out of sync. We saw quite a few places from Russell's era, which was nice. We saw the Maldivarium.
Yes.
We saw the Shadow Proclamation.
Yes.
And we went back to Khan.
Yes, that was
very
interesting. Was incredible.
With loads of aliens in there that we've seen before.
Yes, definitely. And we got to meet probably one of my new favourite villains ever in Doctor Who, which is a character that everyone has pretty much forgot the name of. Everyone
Colonel Sarr?
Colony Sarr.
Colony Sarr.
Yes.
Colony Sarr.
His name is Colony Sarr, and he is amazing. And it is the fact that he's hissing throughout kind of gives the impression, is he a human snake or something? So it kind of gives away that he is a snake creature. But I love that they wait until a few minutes into the episode to reveal his true form, which I think is really good. So I love Colony Sarf. I'm just annoyed that people have forgot his name. People are like, Snake Guy. I'm like, no, it isn't. But yes, here's my first part out of many sort of problems with the episode.
Right.
Now, I don't know whether this could be easily justified, but it's the fact that it wasn't said. So anyone in the comment section who's like, oh my god, it's so obvious that it was because of that. It wasn't said in the episode, so that is just as much of a theory as anything else. So, my little problem is the fact that the audience seem to be the only ones that are actually shocked that Davros is back. It's like Colony Sarf shows up and says that Davros is dying, and the woman in charge of the Shadow Proclamation and Ohelia or something from the Sisterhood of Khan, they just mention Davros in passing sentence. They're not even shocked that he came back. I mean, is it? I mean, do we need to remind you that the last time we saw Davros was when he was trying to wipe out the entire universe? You know, I think we were forgetting that, you know, the whole reality bomb thing.
Yeah.
You know, planets in the sky, that thing. So, yeah, the last time we saw the Shadow Proclamation was when that happened with Davros. So, I just don't like the fact that I feel like, within the episode at least, Davros's return was very much downplayed.
It was very...
It was very much downplayed.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I guess Ohelia, she kind of seemed a bit surprised. She was like, Davros is ancient. So that was a line that I liked. But I can see what you mean. I think if the Shadow Proclamation is aware that Davros is back and how much of a threat he is to every single person in the universe, I'd imagine the Doctor would know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is to do with, of course, suddenly the Doctor saves Davros and then, oh, pop, there he is.
Yeah.
And, you know, all that time where the Doctor has been throwing this party, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
While he's been throwing this party, maybe the universe has been finding out about Davros and the Doctor just didn't know. I don't know, it's a strange one.
I mean, I'm open to theories such as, you know, the Doctor had found the Shadow Proclamation and the Sisterhood of Khan first, and maybe the Doctor had gave them a bit of foreknowledge and were just like, Davros is back, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I mean, maybe before Colony Sarf could show up, maybe the Doctor did warn them of Davros's return. But how would the Doctor have... I would have loved to see Davros know of Davros's return. I mean, seriously, when did the Doctor find out about this? So the point still stands.
Yeah, well, the Doctor saved him as a child, but the Doctor wasn't to know where he would be in the future.
Exactly.
Because, you know, from then on, between his childhood and every single meet-up they've had, nothing changed.
No.
The last time he seen him was still with the reality bomb and everything. That was when he seen the oldest version of Davros. So I don't know. I don't know if it's something we should look too deep into, but the point still stands. I would have liked to have seen the characters a little bit more shocked, because it would have related to us. Our jaws dropped.
But it just annoyed me that Davros was a bit downplayed and everything.
It would have been nice to see the characters react in the same way, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, Colony Sarth, or whatever the hell his name is, was a great character. And in between all of this, we got to see actual Davros. Julian Bleach is Davros.
Yes.
And I will admit, I never saw this coming. I think the whole Davros as a child was very predictable. But I will admit, despite that, seeing the actual Davros, our jaws all dropped in sync.
Yeah.
It was one hell of a reveal.
It was. A lot of people would have said, I've been saying that Davros's reveal was too soon. But I think that when a big enemy returns to Doctor Who, I don't think it always needs to be that big cliffhanger moment. I mean, yes, it would have, because there was an even bigger cliffhanger to come, you know, but still, I think for the sake of the narrative of the story, I don't think it would have made sense for Davros to be revealed as the cliffhanger to then lead into the Witch's Familiar, because that beautiful scene, which we'll get onto between the Doctor and Davros, I thought that scene wouldn't have happened, so I'm really glad that Davros's return was earlier in the episode.
Well, that's what they should do more often, I think. When the writers build up to a certain reveal, it becomes a bit predictable.
Yeah.
You can kind of think, oh, something's going to happen here. But just having Davros suddenly appear on the screen, that was the impact.
That caught us unexpected.
I mean, when we heard the beeps of his life support machine and coughing, I was like, whoa, hang on. Whoa, hang on, who's this? Yeah. And then when there was no slow pan up to his face, we just saw him. And I think that's what they need to do more in Doctor Who. They need to stop prophesying or building up slowly. They should just hit us bang with a surprise, and that's what gets the most reaction.
Yeah.
And to see him back is just incredible.
It is just absolutely brilliant. I mean, I mean, a lot of people. One friend of mine hated the episode, and thought that the context was a bit of a problem. The idea of it not being explained how Davros came back from the journey's end.
That's the point I'm trying to make. It's a two-parter.
Yeah.
People who say things like this annoy me because they're like, oh no, we don't know this, and I'm like, they're not going to answer it in the freaking first episode. Yeah. It's a two-parter. If they answer all the questions in the first part, they're leaving nothing for the second part.
If next week in The Witch's Familiar, which we're going to talk less about this as possible, we'll need to leave something for the preview on Wednesday. But I think that in The Witch's Familiar, if nothing is explained, then by all means, I will join you in bashing this two-parter to some extent. But as it stands right now, before seeing The Witch's Familiar, I think it's open to to it possibly being explained.
Exactly. That's what annoys me a little bit. It's a two-parter, and there's still plenty of time for these questions to be answered. We cannot judge The Magician's Apprentice on answering everything. Yeah. Because that's the point of a two-parter. Yeah. This is asking the questions, and hopefully The Witch's Familiar will answer them. Yeah. And like you said, if it doesn't, then we'll have to say a few harsh words.
Yeah, definitely.
After that, we got Missy.
Yes.
Back.
Yes, we got Missy's return.
One of the most controversial parts of the episode, which a lot of people have disliked, was the planes. And I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was great, because that's just it's ridiculous. Yeah, but that's what Missy does. Only Missy, only the Master, would go to that extent just to get someone's attention. If anyone else did that, I'd be like, what the hell's the point of that? But only the Master would go to them extreme lengths for something small, and that's what I loved.
Well, I guess so, because last year she did something huge for something so small. She tried to revive the dead into Cybermen just to get his best friend's attention. So I do get that, but I just the planes thing, I just didn't get it. I mean, she wanted units, she wanted everyone's attention. No, actually, she just wanted Clara's attention.
Yeah.
So why the hell would she need the whole planes thing? I'm sorry, but I disagree. I mean, some people would argue that if the planes didn't happen, why would she have came to UNIT? Well, what about that whole Doctor's Channel thing? She contacted UNIT through the whole Doctor Channel thing,
which we've never heard of.
Which we've never ever heard of. But I think that since the day of the Doctor, when UNIT have the power to block the most powerful time machine in the world out of the Black Archive, I think UNIT can do more things than what we think.
Yeah.
So the Missy had contacted UNIT through the Doctor Channel. Why couldn't she have just done that? No planes, nothing overly complicated like that needed. Just contacted them through the Doctor Channel, and then she could have said, "Get me Clara," and Clara comes down, and that's it. You know, no planes necessary. And I didn't see the point in Tenerife either.
Well,
Tenerife seemed like a wasted location.
I guess it was a bit strange that she was there of all places, but I just like the fact that she got their attention and they had to go to her. Instead of them saying, "No, Missy, you come to us." I just like how much control she has over people. She can just do anything and control them and make them come to her.
Yeah.
She can make them put 8 snipers on them and they're still absolutely scared of her.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I love. It's something that she would do. And I would understand if this significantly slowed down the episode, and I don't think it did. It could have been much worse. They could have dragged it out. But I think, yes, they could have done without it, and it could have saved more time for other things. But for what it was, I liked it, and I just think it's a very master thing to do.
Yeah, and I think it was good that Missy actually showed a bit of friendship with the Doctor, you know, and showed that, and I think that was very good. And I've got to admit, she has vastly improved. I do like her.
We need to talk about how good she was.
I do like Missy a lot more in this episode than I did in her main 2 episodes of the finale last year. So I do think she has improved 1,000-fold. I do think that I loved that line in particular. It was too long for me to note down, but it was about try, Nano Brain, to think beyond your nasty little food chain and contemplate friendship. A friendship much more complex and much older than your civilization. I've got that completely wrong, but you know, I love that line. I absolutely adore that line, you know, and I think that is something I think that's something I've not heard from the Master ever, you know, so to hear that I think was amazing. So I do think that Missy is on the fast track to becoming one of the greatest Masters.
Well, but I'm not going to jump to that.
No, neither am I, but I am saying that she's on the fast track. I'm going to be nice and say she's on the fast track. But what ruins it for me is the continuation of the god-awful, bloody, sexual innuendo dialogue. That continues to annoy me a lot. I mean, seriously, snipers are on her chest, and she's like, ooh, saucy. You've pinched dialogue from a bloody Carry On film! Jesus Christ, I don't like that. I don't like the dialogue from her still. I'm sorry, but that is where she comes to a screeching halt for me.
There's still a lot of room for improvement, yes, and Moffat he'll never learn, and we just need to accept that he's never going to make a female that is not innuendo. But I can say with confidence, and I'm so glad that I held back my opinions on Missy, because ever since Series 8, obviously, you've done character reviews, people have said, oh, this is my opinion on Missy. And I've held back for months and months and months, saying, no, I'm waiting, I'm hanging on. And I am so glad I did, because she stole the show. I thought, apart from a few little things that you went, oh, God, she was incredible. I mean,
I agree.
She willingly, when she met up with Clara, and I've never seen any Masters do this, as just in passing sentence, she just shot one of the guys and went, oh, he was married, he had a wedding ring, oh, he had a bit of baby leakage on there, he had a child, in passing sentence, and then you say, oh, have a goodbye selfie for your kids. That is the Master.
Yeah,
and that's what I wanted.
I get that.
Them parts I love.
Don't get me wrong. I do, in every sense of the word, believe that Missy is a huge, vast improvement from last year, and I do think that she is merciless, and she's
unpredictable.
Exactly.
She is the most unpredictable Master, I think. You just don't know what she's going to do next.
Exactly. I mean, she kills and she injures people just for the sheer fun of it, and that is very like the Master, and I think you are definitely right. So I am not going to use the innuendo dialogue. I'm not going to use that as a way of, you know, criticising Missy. You know, I have got to say that if I were to give Missy a personal character review, like I did a character review of Missy, you'll remember, I did a character review of that. I don't remember what my score was, but I've got to admit, I would give Missy a 9.5 out of 10. It's just that one half that is the dialogue, that's it. The rest of it is, I love Missy now, but it's just that, you know, just that little thing.
It niggles me as well, but in every scene she was in, I was on edge.
Me too.
Like, when she opened the airlock, she turned around and said to Clara, this could be the moment I kill you, and I went, oh God, she might kill Clara here. And then when she went into and this was later on, when she went into the building where all the Daleks were, and you actually generally thought for a second that she was going to offer an alliance with the Daleks, and I thought, oh God, she isn't. She's going to do it. So I'll give it to her. She is very unpredictable, and she has me on edge.
Yeah.
We then went on to the whole Doctor's Last Day last willing testament, and this is another thing that really annoyed me. Now, I know the Doctor will feel guilty for letting Davros live and the effect that he will have had on, the creation of the Daleks and everything. But why the hell would that lead to him suddenly thinking he's going to die? Yes, guilt is a horrible thing and it can make you feel down, but why would this lead to the 12th Doctor suddenly thinking that he's going to die tomorrow and that he's got to throw a party? And out of all the places for him to go on his last day, why would he go to the 12th century? In Essex.
I have no idea. I have honestly...
That was a little bit irrelevant.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because Moffat felt like we needed to be worried for his character. Oh no, the Doctor's going to die. We've not heard this one before. It just seemed like it was irrelevant.
No, I mean, I hate to bring up this pattern right now, and it may worry a few people.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, Matthew knows what I'm going to get at.
Yeah.
But the whole time dial thing, think about it. There's a little pattern that's been going with modern Doctors. Have I mentioned this?
Second series.
Have I mentioned this?
Yeah. Death.
Besides Christopher Eccleston, of course, with every modern Doctor, both David and Matt, in their respectable second seasons, their story arc has been them being introduced to what will make them regenerate in future stories. Like, for instance, Series 3, The Master, The Sound of Drums, and also that woman picking up the Master's ring. That all led to the 10th Doctor's final episode. And also Series 6, Matt Smith's second series. That all led into the time of the Doctor. So, I think that I don't want to worry a few people, but if they are taking notice of that pattern and they're capitalising on that again, this time dial thing could possibly be the beginning of the end for the 12th Doctor.
I don't know.
What do you think? I mean, do you think that this will be the beginning of the end for the 12th Doctor, or do you think that this is just the time dial could be this series' arc? Do you think?
I don't know. I hope it has some relevance, because it was seen a lot in a lot of promotional pictures. It was seen in every trailer. They pretty much threw it down our throats.
Yeah.
Until we really realised what it was. And after they left the 12th century and went to Skaro, it was forgotten about.
Yeah.
The Doctor's death was never mentioned again. The Last Willing Testament was never mentioned again.
I could actually live, but with not having his death mentioned ever again.
I would.
We had 2 entire seasons dedicated to the Doctor's possible death, and nothing led to it. Obviously we didn't want it to,
no.
But we've had 2 whole seasons of the Doctor. We had a majority of Matt Smith's tenure about the Doctor potentially dying. I'm okay with it never being mentioned again, because I don't want it to.
Part of me wants it. I want it to be in passing sentence because I don't want us to have deja vu. But then it also annoys me that it might just been in the episode for no reason, and it might have been irrelevant. But I don't know. The Doctor then made an entrance that I didn't like.
I loved it.
I thought it was ridiculous.
There are certain things in Doctor Who that, yes, while unexplained, are actually... I actually like. There are things that, you can't explain them with the usual Doctor Who logic, but there are some things that are just so awesome that you've just got to let slip by. Come on, the Doctor was on top of a tank, a freaking tank, and he was playing the electric guitar. Come on, that is something I've got to let slide.
No.
Because it's so awesome.
It was
right?
irrelevant, and it was out of character. And then when he was acting really weird, Clara came over to him and said, "Why are you like this?" And I thought, we're going to get an explanation. Why is the Doctor so weird?
I'll give you that.
It was then forgotten about.
Okay, I'll give you that. I will give you that, right?
It wasn't explained.
Exactly, I will give you that. I agree with that, it led into something.
Or maybe it was because he was going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like Moffat just started something, and like we all know from Stephen Moffat, he just trailed off into something else.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will be explained next week. We do hope, But I got to agree with you there that it wasn't explained about why the Doctor was acting so not him. You know, so I do agree with you there, and I do hope that is agreed in The Witches. I do hope that is justified in The Witches.
Yeah, it's a scene that is it's different for everybody. If you are a rocker and you like that sort of thing, it's obviously going to give you a bit of a giddy moment. You're like, oh my God, that's awesome. And as much as it was awesome, for me it just seemed too irrelevant, and for me it just wasn't enough to make me excited. It was just pointless. But let's move on to a cracking scene where the Doctor confronted Davros.
Yes.
This is a scene that will always live on in the memories, when the Doctor confronts Davros.
Yes.
And seeing 12 confront him was incredible, because we got to see Davros playing on his guilt, and we got to see so many flashbacks.
Yes.
Especially Genesis.
Yes. I mean, oh my goodness. We called it. I think everyone really called it that this story would have some sort of connection to Genesis of the Daleks, and it had a connection so beautifully and so brilliantly. It had archived footage of the Sixth Doctor. We watched it with Ben Lett, and as you all know, he is a huge Sixth Doctor fan.
He lost his mind.
He lost his marble. Seriously, he was jumping up and down with joy at seeing Sixie, and also the Seventh Doctor, Fifth Doctor, 10th Doctor. So we got to see a number of Doctors, probably in Davros confronting stories, and so yeah, it was really good. Davros reminding the Doctor of his compassion and where it's gotten him. The Doctor's compassion has only gotten people killed, really.
Yeah.
So I think that was Davros trying to prove to him once again that emotions like compassion are just they are weaknesses.
It's a great moral dilemma that they were exploring.
It is once again. Yes, 25 years after Genesis of the Daleks, and that moral is getting explored once again.
And what I love, it's not a rip-off either.
No.
There's
it's
little
a sort
bits,
of sequel.
Yeah, there's little bits of it that are similar, but it's not a rip-off. And to see Davros trying to prove to the Doctor that creating the Daleks was right.
Yeah.
And in a way, it kind of makes you think, well, yeah, he's kind of right. Because compassion has got a lot of people killed, and it's a great scene. Davros playing on the Doctor's guilt. It's a real tester, and it makes you really think.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see if they explore that deeper.
Yeah.
In The Witches Familiar.
So, the Return of Skaro. Now, this wasn't Skaro already back?
It was an asylum, but Missy did say that they have rebuilt it and brought it back. I don't know if she was referencing that to Asylum or now, because of course Missy doesn't know that they've rebuilt it.
Missy just said they've brought it back.
Yeah, and what I liked, I will say, is that Missy looked scared. And when the Master looks scared, we all have to be scared.
Yeah.
Especially with Missy, because it seems like nothing scares her, but once again, it's nice to see different parts of the different sides of Missy.
Yeah.
Instead of just the flirtatious, cocky, innuendal Missy that we saw in Series 8, it's nice to see different parts of her character being explored, and to see her scared was great.
Yeah, definitely.
And what I liked about the reveal of Skaro is it wasn't predictable either. Like the Davros reveal, we all knew it was happening. We all knew Skaro was coming back, but the way that they did it, the way they executed it, wasn't predictable. It's like we just thought they were on a ship in the middle of space.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it started to fade in from the background, and again the music built.
Yeah. Oh God. They used
the scene
now.
again.
If there's any moment for Murray Gold to use reused music, which he does a lot, then this is the moment, because they used the original Dalek suite that we've heard from I think since the first series.
Yeah.
So yeah, back in 2005. So yeah, I think that was an absolutely beautiful use of that music. So I think that was beautiful. The classic Daleks. Now I do hope that they're not just fan service.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yes, I do hope that they're not just fan service. Yes, great to see them, and great to actually see them moving and talking
with other Daleks.
But I do hope that they're not just fan service, and they are going to have quite a pivotal point in the next story.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Again, like we were saying before, we don't have to know why they're back and how yet. That's for next week, hopefully. And if they don't explore that and tell us why, then we won't be happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see them all back is great, and I hope that it's not just fan service. I hope there is a reason why Davros has got every model of the Daleks back.
Yeah.
But it was great to see, and I just need to briefly say this. When we saw the classic Dalek on Skaro, you know, when Missy said that they've rebuilt it and brought it back, and you saw that Dalek saying correct.
Yeah.
The CGI is. I'm not gonna put too much. The CGI is not gonna.
By that reaction, I can't tell whether that's good or bad.
The CGI is not gonna heavily affect my rating, but it wasn't good. The hyperspace when they were in Colony Sarth's ship, the hyperspace CGI wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the CGI in that scene wasn't good either.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. To people who are really, interested in the production side of it, it might matter to them. To me, CGI it's a little nitpick,
yeah.
But I've got to say, like with Series 8, it looked a bit dated.
I'm glad you've gotten onto that, because it seems to be that Stephen Moffat is using the classic series and how episodes were written and how episodes were shot and how how he writes the script and stuff. He's using the classic with this episode especially. It seems to me that he's using classic series as a get out of jail free card, so he doesn't quite have to explain things. Missy is a good example, right? Early on, Stephen Moffat had said in an interview that there was no valid excuse for how the Master had returned. After supposedly dying at the end of every story, he would come back and his only explanation would be "I escaped" or "I survived" or something. And Moffat just went, yeah, okay, it's the Master. No one cares. He's back, But that is not an excuse. That was back from the 60s to the 80s.
No disrespect to the old fans.
No, of course not. Of course not.
In a modern age.
But in this modern age, of course, we have a different standard of what is great television and what is written as great television. So I think that Moffat using the classic series as a way of not explaining things, I think that is quite annoying to me.
It's lazy.
It is quite lazy.
Oh, Missy's back.
Yeah, because Missy's back. Who cares? It's just the fact that Missy just said, "Okay, not dead. Big surprise, whatever." That annoyed me a little bit, because although the classic series didn't have explanations, that's not an excuse, because the classic series was a different era back then. It was just amazing enough to see a tinfoil alien, and that was amazing enough. They didn't need any of the narrative or context or anything. None of those things needed to be explained. I think in every classic story, even Genesis, you can spot a context problem, but no one cared back then, and still no one cares but still now with the modern era, it doesn't work with New Who. It doesn't work with the 21st century. Trying to put classic Who ways of writing things into a New Who way, it's not working.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It is a get out of free jail card for Moffat, and I hope he doesn't use that with the Daleks. I cannot see him explaining why Missy's back, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But with the Daleks, I would definitely like to see how them and Davros have came back. And like we said, we're not judging it yet. It could be explained next week.
Yes.
Which is going to be very interesting when next week rolls around. But with Missy at this moment in time, it is a bit annoying that he's using them excuses because they are no longer valid.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Daleks.
Yeah.
We spoke a lot about them heading into Series 9. How much they needed to be given...
An entire video dedicated.
How much they needed to be given a story that was out there. How much they needed to be scary and ruthless. And I think they delivered.
They did.
They did deliver in this.
Although they probably had just as much screen time as the new Daleks did in Victory of the Daleks.
Yeah, but
at the same time, it did work. I mean, that didn't spot at all that was Dalek Sec. That was just a regular black Dalek. They must regularly come in those colours now. But yeah, so I thought that they were really good, which leads on to our one cliffhanger moment. We know they're going to come back because they've been in like every trailer after that, so we know Clara is going to survive the next for the future of the series. But yes, Clara and Missy died. I don't with quotation marks. Missy died again, and Clara died again.
Yeah. Of course, it's obvious.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's obvious that they're not going to come back, and I was not.
That they are going to come back. Yeah,
it's obvious that they're going to come back, and there was no point where I was a bit worried that they wouldn't.
Yeah. So that climactic moment supposedly didn't really work out well.
But that wasn't the actual proper cliffhanger.
Yeah. No.
But it was great for the Daleks, I think, because, again, they weren't built up, they appeared, they looked awesome, they were incredible.
Yeah.
And to see them just I mean, we've said, how many times have we said that they need a story that just it's out there.
Yeah.
And this is the story that we said, we said the BBC needed to pull their finger out and do something special, which they have. And we also said that we wanted the Daleks to show no mercy and just kill. And they did it with two of the main characters. Yes, they're not properly dead.
Yes, but they went for it.
It was refreshing to just see the Daleks just go, exterminate. And what made it even better was when Davros built it up.
Yeah.
When Davros was, 12 was he was scared, he was worried, and Davros was just saying, their blood is boiling, kill. And Clara was about to run. It built up the intensity. And then when she ran and they what a scene. That is how to execute a Dalek scene.
Yes, it is.
Right there.
Yes,
and I'm glad Moffat has done it.
It is absolutely amazing. We know that, of course, Clara, the TARDIS, obviously, are all going to survive the episode somehow. But that's what Moffat needs to do right in the next episode. He needs to not try and make an easy way out, for an episode. So yeah, I think that cliffhanger was amazing. So yeah, speaking of the cliffhanger, of course, the rumor that had been running for I think around 2 years, a very long time, had been that the Doctor would kill Davros as a child. So that is technically true.
Yes, and it is a great cliffhanger. I don't know why people have said that they don't like it. And it did nothing. I loved it. It was again,
great.
And I've noticed with this episode there was no build. It was all impact.
Yeah.
In your face, bang! This is happening.
Yeah.
And just to have the Doctor appear and just say exterminate. Yeah. And then it to be continued. It was a great cliffhanger.
A lot of people,
it's a good cliffhanger when it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have claimed that the cliffhanger was a bit disjointed from the rest of the episode, a little bit out of way sorts with the rest of it. But no, if you haven't noticed, there was like a little flap coming out of the Doctor's arm. So I think that is a vortex manipulator. I think that is a future version of the Doctor that has got either Clara or Missy's vortex manipulator. And went back in time to possibly kill Davros. So I think that is, of course, a future version of the 12th Doctor there.
I cannot wait to see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
It's Genesis all over again, and I love it.
He's on. You said something absolutely wonderful about it. You said that the Doctor has reached the same moral dilemma that he had 25 years ago with the Genesis of the Daleks.
And I can't wait.
The Doctor has reached that same sort of situation, which I think is amazing.
And I'm sure we said this about a year ago, that if 12 was faced in this situation, we'd love to see 12 in this situation because he wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
And he's now in this situation.
Yeah.
So obviously with 4, he was younger, maybe a bit more compassionate.
The Daleks probably didn't do anything really that bad.
Yeah, but with 12, Davros has already played on his guilt and told him how compassion is wrong. So how 12's going to react is going to be very interesting.
Exactly.
Bring on the witches.
Exactly. Davros has pretty much coaxed the Doctor into killing him, and making him pretty much never exist.
I think Davros would die happy seeing the Doctor commit genocide again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to see, I think that the Daleks, I think any race, every single evil race that the Doctor has ever fought, to see the Doctor pick the forbidden fruit, and kill somebody and, commit genocide or something like that, I think any race would die happy to see the Doctor do that.
Exactly. Yes. And it's going to be interesting to see if he does.
Yes, it is. So, is there anything else you'd like to say before we conclude?
I don't think so. I think we can conclude.
Right.
Who's going first?
Well, would you like to go first, or...?
I'll go first if you want me to go first.
Go on.
The Magicians Apprentice was a terrific opener to Series 9. It had me gripped from start to finish and afterwards left me utterly speechless. The intro didn't ease into the episode, it threw us straight in, which I liked. However, after the titles, the episode seemed to slow down slightly. Missy's introduction was great, in my opinion, she stole the show. But the Doctor's death and the Last Willing Testament seemed a bit forced and irrelevant, and like I said, it slowed down the story a little bit. It gave the impression that Moffat spent too much time trying to get the right characters into the right places. Yes, the Doctor was guilty, but I don't see how that would lead to his death. Also, the party he had and the entrance he made felt a little bit out of place for the 12th Doctor. That sequence took me out of the episode slightly. But seeing Davros and all the Daleks again was amazing, and their lack of hesitation to kill Missy and Clara was great too, and the cliffhanger left me wanting more. I can't wait to see what the Doctor does next week. Overall, this opener was brilliant. Yes, certain questions haven't been answered, but they still can be next week. Other than a few niggles that seemed out of place, this was an incredible Gritman episode that has set the standards very, very high for The Witch is Familiar. I'm going to give The Magician's Apprentice 8.5 out of 10.
Wow. Wow, okay.
There we go.
So, my conclusion, here we go. The episode started incredibly well with Child Davros, but it began to annoy me that Davros's return had been completely downplayed by the Doctor and the supporting cast. Colony Sarf, or Snake Guy, is a great and intimidating villain who may be one of my favourites. Missy steals the show from Peter and Jenna in some ways, but her flirty dialogue continues to irritate me further. The return of Skaro and Davros shocked me in a way that I hadn't been in years. Clara, I noticed, was downplayed in this episode, but for good reason, as bigger characters needed to take centre stage. The cliffhanger was amazing, as it put the Doctor in the same position he was in 25 years previously with Genesis of the Daleks. Stephen Moffat has not only created a great opening to a series, but an important episode in Doctor Who history. 8.4 out of 10.
8.4?
Yes.
That's a random one.
I know.
You're 0.1 more than me.
I know.
How dare you?
How dare I? I dare.
But,
yes.
So I think we can both gladly say that we rate that episode quite highly.
Yes, I certainly do. So then, guys, it was a great first review. Thank you for listening, and please do join us on Wednesday, where we will be talking everything about The Witch is Familiar.
Which has got a lot to live up to.
It certainly has. Moffat, don't disappoint us. Yeah. So then, guys, we hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, subscribe to Who Addicts Reviews, as we will be giving you loads of content over the next few weeks, as Series 9 has now officially kicked off, so there is no slowing down for us here on Who Addicts Reviews.
No, and most importantly, comment below your thoughts on The Magician's Apprentice, and we will get back to you in the comments below. We cannot wait to see what you guys think of it, because I'm surprised how much of a mixed reaction it's actually gotten. So
yes.
Comment below.
Yes, and please do visit our website, www.whoaddictsreviews.com. There you can keep up to date with anything and everything that happens here on the channel.
Yes.
So then, guys, we will see you on Wednesday for our preview of The Witch is Familiar. See you guys next time.